So I promised Megan 1 hour, one 60-minute arm, 160-minute chest workout. I said arms. Here's the plan. For anybody out there who's like, you know what, I want to do a push day. I genuinely think 3 sets of a chest pressing thing, go into a shoulders, raises, and use pressing to kind of hit your side delts over your front delts, and then something triceps. 2 things for each muscle group, and that's going to be basically 6 exercises for the whole workout. You should be able to, again, if you're not filming and recording, which takes time, you should be able to get that done in exactly an hour. If you're a beginner or whatever, take advantage of the fact that you're not that strong. That's fine. I was brand new to the gym with a bar and a 25, and I couldn't even do that for 1. And then I went over to the dumbbell rack, and then my friend who I was training with, he was doing like 80s, and I was like, holy shit, you're the Hulk. And I think I did like 35s. That was my first ever workout in a gym in my entire life. I'll never forget it. So if you're a beginner, you're natural, doesn't matter if you're like ultra skinny or chunky and overweight, it really doesn't matter. You can get a sick pushing workout, which is chest, delts, triceps. You can get all that in about 60 minutes. Hope you guys enjoy this little session. I'm gonna fast forward to where I get to my big boy weight, and yeah. One thing I gotta say about incline bench is, like, people say dumbbells, I do dumbbells for the range of motion, yet people come down with dumbbells like to here. The dumbbell head piece is like hitting their chest almost, but their hand is not at their chest. And I think with just a simple barbell where your hands are wherever on this bar, if this bar touches your chest, you know that your hands are where your chest is. And it's really funny when people say they go for dumbbells for the range of motion and the control, yet you're getting less range of motion. And if you're trying to push out that last rep and someone goes to spot you, how many times have you guys seen people have dumbbells fall on top of them, or one arm comes up and the other one doesn't? Like, all this, it's funny, like, I just sometimes could, if I wanted to, come to everyone's reason for doing something, maybe for these, like, the pressing people that say barbells are bad, dumbbells only, better control, better range of motion. I can kind of like flip that completely on its head when I see thousands of people's videos over the course of X amount of years come down halfway. It looks full range of motion. And then other people, when they go to press, they're all wonky. One arm's higher than the other one. Someone's going to spot them. The dumbbell goes this way. It falls on top of them. Like, I don't know. I kind of just think a barbell's safer, better range of motion, better. You can analyze where you have imbalances on a bar because there's no forgiveness. Like, you know, a dumbbell, you can literally press like this and go like that, and nothing's gonna happen because they're 2 separate pieces. Okay, that's so light. Got it. All right, so 20 times 8 to 451. So if you guys didn't know, on the iPhone, if you just built into the phone is a leveling measure app or whatever. If you go to the level and you just put your phone on like an incline bench, you can see the angle. This is right around 25. Yeah, this is 25 degrees of an angle. I think that's like perfect. Anywhere between 25, no more than 30 degrees angle on the incline is like, I think, the sweet spot. So I'm gonna grab Megan for a spot and see if I can get this. 451. 1, 2. I got it. I got it. That was the weirdest. That was the weirdest rep of my life. That was so slow. I felt like it like came off me, and I was like, it went like forward. That was so slow. But I got it. 451 on incline. It's not bad. All right, so I like doing singles when I'm feeling really good, or maybe not a single, but maybe like a set of 3, set of 4, set of 5. So I did a heavy single, which counts as my set 1 is like my lower rep set, and then my set number 2 is like a higher-ish, not high, but higher reps. And that's pretty much gonna be it for me, just for my chest and what my chest needs. 2 working sets every 6 or 7 days for the barbell pressing, flat or incline, is where I'm at now, years into the future of training. If I was on a push-pull legs beginner I would be doing this exact thing. I'd be doing 2 sets, 2 sets, 2 sets, 2 sets, and go home and come back in like 4 or 5 days. Because, dude, if you weigh 150 pounds or 180 pounds or 120 or 200 and you're chunky but you're not strong, the amount of stimulus you can really give your body in terms of recovery and nervous system recovery is not that big because you're just not that strong yet, which is cool. So take advantage of it and just grow like a fucking weed, like year after year for those first few years, where you can really get the most and push and push and push and push. Look for ceilings instead of being scared of them and worried about what other people say your limitations are. Look for your ceiling and find it and go, oh shit, there it is. I feel a little bit overtrained. I went in for a chest day and I wasn't ready for it. I should have taken an extra day off. And that's data that you learned about your body. So to start off on these, beginner phases that you're in, just come in here and press a couple sets, do some delts for a few sets, do some triceps for a few sets, and then 3, 4, 5 days later, grab another one and grab another one until you can't recover from that anymore because you're just going to get too strong for it. Got it. That's it. Okay. So my next 2 exercises are just going to be on this. So I got 2 sets of pressing, 2 sets of flies. Chest is done right after that. Delts, triceps, out of here, 1 hour. Again, I'm a big upper chest is always the focus. Upper chest, upper chest, upper chest. If I go to press down, do you see how my upper chest kind of flexes? I'm not sure if you can see it. See how your upper chest will round up, it like waves up? So your upper chest fibers don't just shut off because you're pressing down. However, in the stretched position, which is much more important than where you finish and where you contract, the actual stretching, like loading a muscle under a stretch and then contracting it through that same plane. When I think of my upper chest, I want to think of like my palms are coming in like that, like my hands are coming up, and I'm taking my elbow and coming across my chest, and almost like I'm going that way and that way, like I'm trying to go like that. So what I really like to do is just sit in a spot, and sometimes I don't even grab the handles. I just put my hands on the metal, because on the metal I can kind of quickly adjust the height, and I want to go as high as I can without hitting delt or without just losing it, So if I'm down too low and I go to do a thing here, I'll do a nasty chest contraction right in the middle of my chest. But as far as the upper fibers, they're not as hard as I want them to be. As far as the contraction is not as hard there. And when I'm stretched, I'm not getting a ton of stretch up top here. When I bring my hands up a little bit higher, again, not too high, a little bit higher, and I'm almost pushing through this part of my hand. So I'm pushing through the bottoms of my hands, almost like my hands don't even need to be on this. And my arms are gonna open up like this. And if you do have a mirror in front of you, you guys, I guarantee you have a little bit of muscle asymmetries and muscle imbalances. As you go to do these reps, make sure one shoulder doesn't hike up. Make sure one elbow isn't, externally or internally rotated more than the other. Just make sure you're dead centered so that in a year from now, when you're 10,000 reps of chest deep, you don't have a weird imbalance. I'm just coming here, boom. Open it up. Go nice and easy. You don't want to lose even 1 millimeter of range of motion to some external muscle that's not your chest. Get that contraction and stay on the contraction. Open up a contracted muscle. Okay, here we go. This is where the money is, right here. Where it gets hard and you have to be accountable to yourself to not lose your form or your range of motion. Last one. Come on. Oh. Wow. Damn, that's good. That's good. It's funny, like, I was listening to this Dave Palumbo podcast, and he was like, he was the guest on Overcome podcast. That guy that had his whole YouTube page deleted and he's restarted it. And Dave Palumbo's like, the bread and butter stuff, it's like when you add in a lot of social media pressure to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the gym is such a cool thing that is so common and cultural, that being big for your friends and for your local gym, impressing the people at your gym who are total strangers, everyone goes to the gym, and I would say there's a Venn diagram, and there's overlapping circles, and I think one very common circle is feeling like small. You just feel like I'm not muscular, and that makes me either lose confidence, or I'm insecure, or I just don't feel like a man, or I just want to impress people. I want to impress guys, I want to impress girls, for whatever reason. And he was like, cable crossovers and chest flies, they're not going to build this amazing, crazy looking chest. And I agree with that. I don't think if you want crazy, sick, awesome legs, to come in the gym and just do leg extensions for quads and that's it. Like, you're sick at leg extensions. Like, that's not going to build a big set of quads. You got to get under the hacks, the leg press, the barbell squats, and belt squat. You got to do some squatting, something. And I think for chest, I don't think you can come in the gym and really chest fly your way to a big chest. However, I do think with this exercise where the range of motion is so deep, my hands are like behind me at the bottom of the range of motion, and my chest is in a position where it's so stretched, it'll never get this stimulus from anything else in the gym. And that's why I believe that if there's an exercise that can stimulate your muscle in a way that the bread and butter ones can't, I think it should be within your routine. For me, a hammer strength, plate loaded, like seated, press, to me is like an inferior version of a barbell. This is my opinion. You can disagree with me. Totally fine. People are on the Mr. Olympia stage without touching a barbell. But the reason why I would agree with Dave Palumbo and say, yeah, you know what, cable flies, machine flies, that's not going to build a crazy sick chest because you're missing the bread and butter stuff. I simultaneously will say, if the bread and butter stuff like the heavy pressing is in there, these exercises offer the chest a range of motion and a stimulus that those exercises just simply don't. And that doesn't mean that this builds more muscle. It's not a question I think anyone should be asking. Does the fly build more muscle than the press? Okay, let's say you get to an answer. Okay, no, it doesn't. So does that mean never do it? It's like, no, it still builds tissue, just in a different way, from a different angle, from a different stimulus than the heavy pressing. So this is my second set. So I'm gonna open this one up and finish with some partials at the end. Like, I could go heavier, but I'm just gonna stay at the stack. I'm not gonna gym pin or add a plate to it, but I'm just gonna control everything. Just open that baby up. And remember your posture. You got to think your chest can open in the X axis this way. Your chest can also open vertically. I made a video where I mentioned this just like 2 chest videos ago, or 1 chest video ago. I mentioned this, that when you're doing exercises for chest, it's not just about opening up this way. It's about opening up this way. So make sure on these flies you're boom. All right, partials. Oh, okay. God damn. Now, for anyone that maybe doesn't believe pressing flies, just a couple sets each, really, does much, but this is where my chest is at after a set of 1 on incline bench, a set of like something under 10. I forget what I did with my second set. Okay, and then 2 sets of flies, and that's where I'm at. So when you do it right, you don't need a lot. But when you're new, you're learning. It's almost like playing an instrument. Like, you're not gonna just grab a guitar and shred on the guitar. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna take a while to play fucking Smoke on the Water and Enter Sandman and Hot Cross Buns, before you play an Eddie Van Halen solo. So I really think mastering these basics, and in a year, if you train everything once a week for a year, that's 50 workouts. You know, it's 50 times you had an opportunity to come in and practice training chest and delts and arms and triceps and having a push day. If you can get maybe in a 30-day calendar month, instead of getting 4, maybe get 5 or 6 of those workouts and just keep them like a short 60-minute blast, ride that as long as you can, because it's not gonna last forever. Everyone that says you can train everything a couple times a week, dude, no one that does that is strong. You know, if you're a crazy genetic elite, whatever, then maybe. But dude, I don't see someone barbell rowing 4 or 5 plates aside, and then 3 days later deadlifting 7, 8 plates aside, and then 3 days later coming back in and doing barbell rows again with, like, you know what I mean? If you're on machines, maybe that's one thing, but I don't see free weight bodybuilding where you're training shit 2, 3 times a week for years. When you're advanced, like, come on, dude, you're way too strong. You're lifting way too much weight for that. But when you're newer, take advantage of multiple sessions, you know, closer together in frequency. You don't have to annihilate yourself. Just, crank out a sick workout, you know. But right, I just finished all that pressing, and I'm a bigger person that's lifting heavier weight. You guys that are pressing a plate, maybe 2 plates aside, maybe even up to 3 plates aside, you don't need as much warming up. You can get in and out of that pressing super quick, get onto your shoulders and stuff, get onto your triceps, and be out of here, because I'm sure you either have school or a job or other commitments to do, and you don't want to be in the gym for 2 hours. As much as we love being in the gym, you know, being in the gym for 2 hours is not, there's other stuff you got to take care of. Don't put the gym on this big pedestal. Like, you weave it into your daily life instead of making it like this crazy thing you're so obsessed with. Be obsessed, because when you're obsessed, you get sick fucking results. Don't let it compromise other things that are equally as important in your life that may not seem like it now, but you will you will realize, oh shoot, that relationship that I had, you know, or that commitment that I had, or that job that I wanted, or that career, or that girl, or that whoever. What I'm gonna do here is basically just be, I like doing side delts, high volume, short rest, stimulate. That's just my approach. So what I'm gonna do is grab these dumbbells and just come out here with some side raises, drop them, spin around in my chair, grab this thing, I'm gonna lie down, and I'm basically just gonna be doing upright rows. The reason why I like doing upright rows lying down is because I don't have to worry about using my back. I don't have to worry about using my hips. I don't have to worry about anything. This lying down aspect is the same thing as a standing up upright row, but I get to just be flat on my back, where nothing, I can't, even if I wanted to, I can't really cheat the reps because I'm so, you know, locked into this position with my feet and my back. I'm never gonna just go like this. Like, I'm never gonna do that. I'm gonna get a little bit of an elbow bend. I'm gonna lead with my elbow. I'm gonna pretend like there's a string on the top of my forearm where my elbow is to the ceiling, and that string is pulling my arm up to the side. And at the same time, I'm taking my trap and my shoulder girdle, my scapula, all the musculature around my neck and my back, and I'm not going to move it. In your anatomy textbooks, anybody out there that's trying to get their personal trainer certification, your scapula has kind of 4 directions it travels that we can talk about, 4 main ones. You have protraction, which is push your shoulder girdle comes forward. You have retraction, which is when you like squeeze your shoulder blades together. You have elevation, and then you have depression. I'm going to keep my scapula retracted and depressed. I don't want it shrugged. I don't want it falling forward. I don't want it swinging and making rotations. I'm just elbow pulls up to the ceiling from a string, and my traps stay down. My back muscles everything's locked in place, and I'm just here. It's like that, bam, bam. And I'm tilted forward at the hips. For me, that's been working really well for my shoulder development. And I don't even rest. I just fucking go from this to that. Okay, getting towards the end of this set. Once it starts doing like this shit, once I start doing that, that the set's over, you know? Because I'm still going into this. It's not like this is the end. A couple more. See how I kind of started to bring me to the dumbbells? That's when the set's over. Now you spin around, and this is a good superset because you're not taking up 2 different pieces of equipment. You can do everything right here. Grab this, a little bit wider than shoulder width, and just upright row. Again, my shoulders are locked in the same position. I'm not shrugging. Oh, fuck. Come on. Come on. This is an exercise that I will do partials or controlled momentum towards the end, but I gotta get good money reps first. I'm not trying to get 5 reps. Rep number 6, I'm already adding in the momentum stuff. I don't do it that early. I'll push the set, at least get 10, 12 reps in, and then almost like spot myself up to 15 or more. And I just basically catch my breath and go right back to this. So I do train side delts on arms. I do have an arm day, as my arms are not like, you know, growing from back, and all I gotta do, like, dude, anyone that does back and biceps, like, I envy that person, because someone that has results, a sick back and a sick set of biceps, and I go, what do you do for back? What do you do for arms? And they go, oh, I have a back and biceps day. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like, I wish I had that, because my biceps need attention and stimulus and attention for them to really respond. So just catch my breath and keep going with this, and then I will do side delts again on my arm day, which is just in 2 days, you know? At the bottom, I try to stop about here, because if I go lower, what happens? I'm just holding dumbbells in my fingers. There's no side delt, stretch, or eccentric. The eccentric is past an eccentric, you know? So I try to almost stop here. I forget quite often, but I try to keep the tension. Okay. I want this bar to come like right to like my chest. Like I'm touching this almost on my skin. Don't let it hit your brajoli. Don't let it hit your castañas. But come close to your body. Don't have the bar way out here. Pull it right up to your chin almost. Side delts are on fire. All right, here's another angle. Last set number 3. And now, crazy idea, with already pumped side delts, I'm gonna go into a shoulder press on a machine and sit backwards on purpose, because I almost want my hands to mimic less of a shoulder front delt and more like they're going up and behind me. And if you guys take your if you can look at me like from this angle, hopefully this looks okay. If you take your arm like this out to the side of you and you go like this, okay, feel, if you can, or have someone feel what muscles contract when you do that. You're gonna feel your side and your rear delts as part of the system of muscles that do this external rotation. So if you put your side delt up into this position and think of it like it's continuing to go that way, up and behind you, it's almost like a behind the neck press, but with more of a focus on the elbow coming down a little bit in front of you and coming out to the side, like that. And when you do that, dude, the side delt pump is ridiculous, but I'm already pumped there. So now I can go into a press and immediately make that mind muscle connection with my side delt, so that my side delts get bigger and not have these overpowered front delts. Like 9 out of 10 guys in the gym have way imbalance. I'm not saying their front delts are like small, I'm just saying they're big, but their sides and their rears don't match, which to me, a balanced physique is really the end of the day. Like, that's the goal. Everything's got to be balanced. Okay, let's spin around. If your gym has the cables that have like 2 handles down here, like where my feet are, 2 separate handles, I would use 2 separate cable handles and do this with 2 independent arms. Personally, I think it's better than a straight bar, but this is all I got, and this is what I'm using, and it still gets the job done. Done. All right, check this out. So my mic little cord thing came out of the camera, I guess by like a millimeter, and I don't know, it didn't record. So I'm just going to do this voiceover for this last part. So if you can kind of, like, if you look at my hands coming down, my arms coming down, my head is in front of my, in front of my hands or arms, or at least at the same spot as my hands or arms. So this is sort of mimicking like, kind of like a behind the neck press. I know that exercise gets a lot of hate. I don't know why. It's just, you're just pressing overhead. Your physical head is in the way of a bar. So just picture doing a shoulder press, with dumbbells in your hands. Obviously the dumbbells go next to your face, but when you're on a machine or something, if you can get that mobility, it's really, really, I think it's one of the best ways to press, where you're getting your side delts to do a lot of the work, just sitting backwards in a machine, or like a behind the neck, Smith machine press, but something where you're pressing last, so your side delts are already pumped, and then get into a press. And last here is this sort of double set on triceps. So I'm scooted forward in the seat, like I'm almost leaning back, even though it's an L seat. So it's a 90-degree angle seat, and I'm just doing sort of, it's not a press where I'm thinking of like a traditional press, but it's also not a full extension where I'm making like an arc or like a C shape. It's kind of like in between a press and an extension. And then after I hit as many, once I hit failure on that, I sit back all the way in the seat with my low back and my butt up against the back pad. And then I'm getting this element of the long head of your tricep. I've probably mentioned this before. I'll probably mention it again. It's really important. The long head of your tricep does not attach and insert at the same places as the short and the medial head, or the lateral and the medial head of your tricep. Your long head of your tricep actually goes up behind you towards your back. So I'm getting that little element of, my shoulders moving there to get a little extra stretch on the tricep. And I just do that double set for 3 sets. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope this little tutorial of kind of just an overall push day was helpful, and you learned something and can incorporate some of the stuff into your training. I just did some quick posing after after the workout. So, I had a couple sets of pressing, couple sets of flies, chest was done there, and, got into the side raises, which obviously are a lot more volume, but it's a lot smaller muscle, can handle a lot more, it can just handle a lot more volume, the side delts and the rear delts and things like that. And then went into some triceps, did some pressing there, and then I would recommend an entire separate arm day where you get more than just one exercise, for triceps in. So hope this push day was helpful, informative. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you at the next vid.